Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec and I'm back with another video for you guys. Today's video we are going to continue on with the pre-security learning path and we are checking out the Windows Fundamentals. This is Windows Fundamentals 3. In part 3 of the Windows Fundamentals module, learn about the built-in Microsoft tools that help keep the device secure, such as Windows Updates, Windows Security, BitLocker, and more. Now let's go ahead and jump into it. Introduction. We will continue our journey exploring the Windows operating system. To summarize the previous two rooms, in Windows Fundamentals 1, we covered the desktop, the file system, user access or account control, the control panel, settings, and the task manager. In Windows Fundamentals 2, we covered various utilities such as system configuration, computer management, resource monitor, etc. This module will attempt to provide an overview of the security features within the Windows operating system. Launch the virtual machine by following these instructions below, and you can remote desktop into it if you choose to do so. I'm just going to use the web interface here. All right, let's mark this as complete. Now as that's loading up, let's continue on to task number 2 here. We're going to talk about Windows updates. Let's start things off with the Windows updates. Windows Update is a service provided by Microsoft to provide security updates, feature enhancements, and patches for the Windows operating system and other Microsoft products such as Microsoft Defender. Updates are typically released on the second Tuesday of each month. This is called Patch Tuesday. This doesn't necessarily mean that a critical update/patch has to wait for the next Patch Tuesday to be released. If the update is urgent, then Microsoft will push the update via the Windows Update service or to use the Windows devices. Refer to the following link to see the Microsoft Security Update Guide here, so be sure to check this out if you want. Windows Update is located in the settings below. Tip: another way to access Windows Update is from the Run dialog box or CMD by running the command control name Microsoft.Windows Update. And this is what it looks like here in that screen. So as soon as this gets done loading up, we'll take a look at that. In the attached VM, there are a few things to highlight. The Windows Updates settings are managed typically. Home users will not see this type of message. There are no available updates available for the virtual machine. The attached virtual machine does not have internet access to communicate with Microsoft to obtain new features. And that's right, usually if it's a home Windows box, you're probably going to be using Windows Home. And in the corporate environment, you're probably going to be using Windows Pro or Windows Enterprise. And most likely, those updates are managed by the IT department, right? Because you don't want just random updates being sent out to machines that could cause all kinds of issues. All right, so I'm just gonna go here, and then there's update and security down here, and there you go. Windows Update, and it's not gonna work if you click check for updates because there's no internet access according to what they said here. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on. Throughout the years, Windows users have grown accustomed to pushing Windows updates off to a later date or not installing updates at all. Various reasons cause this action. One being the fact that a reboot is typically required after a Windows update. Microsoft notably addressed this issue with Windows 10. The updates can no longer be ignored or pushed to the side until forgotten. Windows updates can often or only be postponed, but eventually the update will happen and your computer will reboot. Microsoft provides these updates to keep the device safe and secure. Below is an image of how a restart required looks and the several options available regarding schedule the restart. And this is exactly what it looks like here. And as it says here, pause updates for 7 days, etc. Sometimes you can't edit this if you're working in a corporate environment. Like I said, it's managed by the IT department, and sometimes they don't allow you to push these updates off. You just gotta sit there and take it. I mean, hopefully they schedule it during after hours or off hours when you're not working, so your computer can reboot. And let's see here. There were 2 definition updates installed in the attached VM. On what date were these updates installed? So let's go ahead and look at update history here. Find that information here. And it says definition update. So let's go ahead and click here. And they were installed on 5/3/2021. So let's go ahead and type that in here. 5/3/2021. All right, there we go. Let's continue on to task number 3 here. Windows security. Per Microsoft, Windows security is your home to manage the tools that protect your device and your data. In case you missed it, Windows security is also available in the settings. So if you go back to settings area, it's right here, Windows security. In the above image, focus your attention on protection areas, a virus and threat protection, firewall, and network protection, app and browser control, device security. Each following task will briefly touch on these areas. Before proceeding, let's provide a quick comment on the status icons. Green means your device is sufficiently protected, and there isn't or aren't any recommendations or recommended actions. Yellow means that if there's a safety recommendation for you to review. Red is a warning that something needs your immediate attention. Click on the Open Windows Security. And right usually when it's like this, there's X, it's off, like it's disabled. As you can see here, it says it's asking you to turn on. Notes: since the VM is a Windows Server 2019 edition, it looks different from a Windows 10 Home or Professional edition. The below image is from a Windows 10 device, and apparently that's what it looks like. It might look different now since things have updated since this room was released. Next, look at virus and threat protection. In the image above, which area needs immediate attention? Okay, let's take a look here. All right, so looks like hmm, I'm assuming they mean it's virus and threat protection. So let's try that. So virus and threat protection. Yep. Okay. All right. It's kind of they could have worded this a little bit better. Like compare the two images or compare the two. And what's the difference between this image and what you see on your machine, right? And this is what you see on the machine here. This needs attention. But anyway, let's continue on to task number 4. Task number 4 says virus and threat protection. So they're divided into two parts: current threats and virus and threat protection settings. The image below only focuses on current threats. There you have it. So what it looks like here. Do a quick scan, etc., etc. And let's continue on here. Current threats, scan options. You got quick scan, checks folders in your system where threats are commonly found. Full scan checks all files and running programs on your hard disk. This scan could take longer than 1 hour. Custom scan, choose which files and locations you want to check. Obviously, the full scan is going to take a while if it's scanning your entire hard drive, everything on there. And it could last a very long time depending on how many files and stuff you have on your machine. Threat history, last scan, Windows Defender, antivirus automatically scans your device for viruses and other threats to keep it safe. Quarantine threats have been isolated and prevented from running on your device. They will periodically be removed. Allowed threats are items to identify threats which you have allowed to run on your device. Sometimes it's not even a threat, it's a false positive that you want to allow to run on your machine. Warning: allow an item to run that has been identified as a threat only if you're 100% sure on what you're doing. Next is virus and threat protection settings. And it goes in and explains what this is here. You got managed settings, real-time protection, cloud delivery or delivered protection, automatic sample submission, controlled folder access, exclusions, notifications. Warning: excluded items could contain threats that make your device vulnerable. Only use this option if you're 100% sure of what you are doing. So be sure to go through and read through all this all the way and understand what each of these sections mean. Virus and threat protection updates. Check for updates. Manually check for updates to update Windows Defender, antivirus definitions, ransomware protection. Controlled. All right, so uh, controlled folder access. Ransomware protection requires this feature to be enabled, which in turn requires real-time protection to be enabled. Real-time protection is turned off in the attached VM to decrease the chances of performance issues. Since the VM can't reach the internet and there isn't any personal Windows devices unless you have to third-party, sorry, it can't reach the internet. There aren't any threats in the VM. This is safe to do so. Real-time protection should only or definitely be enabled in your personal Windows devices unless you have a third-party product that provides the same protection. Ensure it's always up to date and enabled. I don't use Windows Defender. I use other third-party antivirus solutions. Windows Defender has gotten a lot better over the years. This may be what you need. I mean, probably don't need any third parties, but that's up to you to make a determination on. But back in the day, Windows Defender used to be very, very easy to bypass, and it was straight up hot garbage. But they've made a lot of progress since then. Tip: you can perform on-demand scans on the file folder by right-clicking the item and selecting scan. with Windows Defender. Below image was taken from another Windows device to show this feature. And you can see they right-clicked on these PDF files here. Scan with Microsoft Defender. Specifically, what is turned off that Windows is notifying you to turn on. And this should be the real-time protection here. So let's go ahead and type that in here. Real-time protection. There you go. All right, task number 5, and we are going to talk about firewall and network protection. What is a firewall? Per Microsoft, traffic flows into and out of devices via what we call ports. A firewall is what controls what is, and more importantly, isn't allowed to pass through those ports. You can think of it like a security guard standing at the door, checking the ID of everything that tries to enter or exit. The below image will reflect what you will see when you navigate to firewall and network protection. So let's just go ahead and do that here. Navigate here, and you can see domain network firewall is turned on. The network or private network firewall is turned on, and the public network firewall is turned on. And there's a bunch of other options in there as well. So let's go ahead and continue on here. So what's the difference between the three domain, private, and public firewalls here? Per Microsoft, Windows Firewall offers three firewalls profiles: domain, private, and public. Domain profile applies to networks where the host system can authenticate to a domain controller. Private. The private profile is a user-assigned profile and is used to designate private or home networks. Public. The default profile is the public profile, used to designate public networks such as Wi-Fi, hotspots at coffee shops, airports, and other locations. And if you click on any firewall profile, another screen will appear. Turn the firewall on and off, block incoming connections, etc., etc. So you go ahead and play around with it. Click in one of them, and it's asking you to turn on, turn off stuff here. All right, it says don't go in here and mess around with stuff if you don't know what you're doing. All right. Like I said, there's more settings in here you can play around with. If you go back here and where's it at? Oh yeah. So you got allow an app, a bunch of other stuff in here too. So you go through and check these settings if it loads. But anyway, it's gonna look like something like the screenshot here. There we go. And let's see here. You can view the current settings for any firewall profile are. And the above image, several apps have access to the public or the private and or public firewall profiles. Some of the apps will provide additional information if it is available via the details button. All right, so there's stuff here. You can go click on details, take a deeper look at stuff here. Configuring the Windows Defender Firewall is for advanced Windows users. Refer to the following Microsoft documentation on best practices. So click that and learn about best practices when it comes to firewalls. Host-based firewalls, actually, because this is a host-based firewall, obviously. Command to open the Windows Defender Firewall is wf.msc. If you are connected to the airport Wi-Fi, what most likely will be active firewall profile. Hey everybody, just a quick little blurb here. As you can see here, most people that view my channel are not subscribers. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're enjoying the video, please consider hitting the like button. It helps get me in the algorithm, helps spread the good word out there, helps bring more people and increase our glorious community here. All right, I'm all about helping out others. I know what it's like to come up in cybersecurity or even try to get into cybersecurity and not knowing where to look. I'm just having this channel up so I can help out other people. All right, that's all I got. All right, this should be public network. There you go. And let's go to task number 6 here. Talk about app and browser control. In this section, you can change the settings for the Microsoft Defender Smart Screen. Per Microsoft Defender Smart Screen protects against phishing or malware websites and applications and the downloading of potential malicious files. Refer to the official Microsoft document for more information about Microsoft Defender Smart Screen. Click here. So learn about that, check it out. And we're going to go straight into it here. See what they got for us. You want us to go to app and browser control. So let's go ahead and click here. And as you can see, there's various different options in here. You got block, warrant off, exploit protection, some other stuff in here, right? Check apps and files. Windows Defender Smart Screen helps protect your device by checking for unrecognized apps and files from the web. Exploit protection. Exploit protection is built into Windows 10 and, in our case, Windows Server 2019 to help protect your device against attacks. All right, so you can go in there and you can play around with the settings or learn about the settings, how to do it. Warning, unless you're 100% confident. Another thing, as before, if you don't know what you're doing here, don't be in here messing around with stuff. But I recommend familiarizing yourself with these options, play around with it, etc. Get some of that hands-on keyboard experience dealing with host-based firewalls and settings and such. Task number 7, device security. Even though you'll probably never change any of these settings for completion's sake, it will be covered briefly. You got device security. Security comes built with your device, core isolation, yada yada yada. Core isolation, memory integrity, prevents attacks from inserting malicious code into high security processes. Core isolation stuff. Once again, don't mess around with these settings in here if you don't know what you're doing. The below image are from another machine to show another security feature that should be available in a personal Windows 10 device. Security processor. Below are the security processor details, so be sure to check this out if you're interested. And we're going to talk about TPMs, which are trusted platform modules. The technology is designed to provide hardware-based security-related functions. A TPM chip is a secure crypto processor that is designed to carry out cryptographic operations. This chip includes multiple physical security mechanisms to make it tamper-resistant, and malicious software is unable to tamper with the security functions of the TPM. Now, what is the TPM? Well, as we just saw, it's the Trusted Platform Module. So we'll go ahead and plug this in there, and let's continue on to the next task. All right, BitLocker. What is BitLocker? BitLocker Drive Encryption is a data protection feature that integrates with the operating system and addresses the threats of data theft or exposure from lost, stolen, or inappropriately decommissioned computers. On devices with TPM installed, BitLocker offers the best protection. BitLocker provides the most protection when used with a TPM version 1.2 or later. TPM is a hardware, yada, yada, yada. You can read the rest there. Refer to the official Microsoft documentation to learn more about BitLocker here. So check that out. The BitLocker feature is not included in the attached VM. What must the user insert on computers that do not have a TPM version 1.2 or later? And this should be a USB startup key, so be sure to check out the documentation to read about that. That's how you find that answer. Or you can just use Google and it'll tell you. All right, task number 9 here. Volume Shadow Copy Service. Per Microsoft, the Volume Shadow Copy Service, VSS, coordinates the required actions to create a consistent shadow copy, also known as a snapshot or a point-in-time copy of the data that is to be backed up. Volume shadow copies are stored on the system volume information folder on each drive that has protection enabled. If VSS is enabled, system protection turned on, you can perform the following tasks within advanced system settings. Create a restore point, perform system restore, configure restore settings, delete restore points. From a security perspective, malware writers know of this Windows feature and write code in their malware to look for these files and delete them. Doing so makes it impossible to recover from a ransomware attack unless you have an offsite/offsite backups. If you wish to configure shadow copies within the VM, see below. So you can get in here and play around with that as well. So let's just go ahead and just try to navigate to that section here. All right, so you go to File Explorer here, and then this PC, and you can right click on there and configure shadow copies. All right, and it basically looks just like this here as we see below. You can see it's disabled. If you wish to interact hands-on with VSS, I suggest exploring day 23 of Advent of Cyber 2, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in exploring. Now, what does this stand for? Remember, it stands for the Volume Shadow Copy Service. So I'm going to copy and paste this in there, and then we're going to continue on to the next task here, which is the conclusion. All right. Thanks for sticking along with me for this long. In this room, we covered several built-in Windows security tools that ship with the Windows OS to keep the device protected. Let me just close this out real quick, terminate this machine. Okay, terminate all this stuff here just to make the screen bigger. All right, there we go. There is still so much to explain and cover regarding the Windows OS as mentioned in Windows Fundamentals 1 Room. The content is aimed at those who wish to understand and use the Windows OS on a more comfortable level. To learn more about the Windows OS, you'll need to continue your journey, the journey on your own. Here's some more reading materials, so be sure to check this stuff out here if you're interested in learning more about Windows and such. Note, attackers use built-in Windows tools and utilities in an attempt to go undetected within the victim environment. Detected is known as living off the land or um, LOL, LOTL, whatever you want to pronounce it, LOTL or LOLs. Refer to the following reference here to learn more about this. Yep, low blast, low bin, stuff like that. So be sure to click here and learn about how to live off the land because you may come across this as attackers begin to use more and more of these techniques, and procedures. Okay, we've already read everything here, and that wraps up this video. I'm glad you guys stuck with me, and if you found this video valuable, please consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell. If you're new here, hit the like button, comment below your thoughts and opinions. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Have a nice day.